This is not in conflict with what the prophet says, that God knows the number of the stars and has called them by their names. For David does not thereby deny to his majesty the liberty of conceding to a creature that as a privilege which he possesses by nature. It is plain that since this knowledge is communicable and since it would contribute to Mary's excellence, it should not be denied to her. Has he not conferred upon her greater favors, and has he not made her the queen of the stars and of all other creatures? And this knowledge was, as it were, only a sequel of her dominion and sovereignty over the powers, influences, and movements of all the celestial orbs, since they were commanded to obey her as their queen and lady. In consequence of this command which the Lord gave to the celestial orbs, and in accordance with the dominion which Most Holy Mary obtained over them, she possessed such power that if she commanded the stars to leave their positions in heaven, they would obey her instantly and would hasten to the regions which she chose to designate. The same is true of the sun and the planets. All would pause in their course and suspend their operations to execute the command of Mary. I have already said above, number 21, that sometimes Her Highness made use of this sovereignty, for, as we shall see farther on, it happened a few times in Egypt, where the rays of the sun are exceedingly strong, that she commanded the sun to moderate its heat, and not to molest or fatigue the infant God, its master. And the sun obeyed her therein, causing inconvenience and suffering to her, because she wished it, and yet respecting the tender years of the Son of Justice, whom she held in her arms. The same happened also with other stars, and on a few occasions she detained the sun in its course, as I will mention later. Many other hidden sacraments the Most High manifested to our great Queen in this vision, and what I have said and will say of all these mysteries leaves me dissatisfied and with a heart, as it were, torn asunder. For I see that I can say little of that which I understand, and, in proportion, I understand still less of what really did happen to the Heavenly Lady. Many of the mysteries concerning her are reserved for the last day, when her most holy Son shall proclaim them, since now we are not capable of receiving their revelation. The Most Holy Mary issued from this vision still more inflamed and filled with the divinity, entirely transformed by the knowledge of God's attributes and perfections. And her advance in virtues kept pace with her progress in divine favors. She multiplied her requests, her fervent sighs, and her meritorious works, in order to hasten the incarnation of the Word and our salvation. Instruction which the Heavenly Queen gave me. My dearest daughter, I wish that thou busy thyself much in meditating and pondering upon that which thou hast understood of my doings and sufferings at the time when the Most High gave me such a deep insight into his goodness, which drew him, as with an infinite force, to enrich men, and when he showed me the want of correspondence and the dark ingratitude of the mortals. When I turn from the consideration of this most liberal condescension of the Most High to the perception and understanding of the foolish hard-heartedness of the sinners, my soul was pierced with an arrow of mortal anguish, which remained for life. And I wish to tell thee of another mystery. Many times the Most High, in order to heal the affliction and consternation of my heart in this sorrow, sought to console me by saying, "Accept thou, my spouse, the gifts which the blind and ignorant world, in its unworthiness, despises, and is incapable of receiving and understanding." With these words, the Most High was accustomed to set free the currents of his divine bounty, which rejoiced my soul more than human powers can comprehend or tongue explain. I desire, therefore, that thou, my friend, be now my companion in the sorrow which I suffered, and which is so little noticed by the living. In order to imitate me therein, and in the effects of this most just grief, thou must deny thyself, forget thyself entirely, and crown thy heart with the thorns of sorrow at the behavior of mortals. Weep thou in seeing them laugh at their eternal damnation, for such weeping is the most legitimate occupation of the true spouses of my most holy Son. Let them seek their delight only in the tears which they pour out on account of their sins and those of the ignorant world. Thus prepare thy heart in order that the Lord may make thee a participant of his treasures, not in order to become rich, but in order that his majesty may fulfill his most generous love toward thee, and in order that souls may find justification. Imitate me in all that I teach thee, since thou knowest that this is my desire in favoring thee.